the word fake vegan has to mean something. Most of the time here on the internet, it gets thrown around as a catty and really hypocritical insult. By that I mean many of the people accusing others of being fake vegans themselves would be guilty of the same thing if they applied the criteria fairly on all sides. But ultimately, the word is not meaningless. And there are people you'll meet in real life, face to face, who are fake vegans in the strictest sense. They say they're vegans, and they're not. And sometimes when you meet those people, you wonder, are they actually unaware of the meaning of the term? Are they trying to cynically manipulate the term? Are they trying to manipulate me? Are they trying to manipulate you? Why would they say this? This video is going to be about Jill Stein. Jill Stein is an American politician, and I think it is fair to say that she's a fake vegan. In just one moment, I'm going to read out a quotation from her, showing exactly what the problem is. More broadly, I think there is a question. Early this morning, I was being asked on YouNow and by social media to comment on the problem of vegan celebrities. And the problem is that they're not really vegan. Now, in some cases, they claim to be vegan and they're not, but more often, they're celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio or currently Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're celebrities who made vague statements in support of veganism, but who did not really claim to be vegan themselves. If you pay attention to what they said and how they said it, they weren't really repping the cause. They didn't claim it was their own diet, their own lifestyle, nor even what they were pursuing as a political goal. But sometimes vegans on the internet have been so eager to appropriate these people that they misrepresent them as being vegans, and then we get a different kind of fake vegan phenomenon, where people are being perceived as vegans. They're being expected to represent veganism when they're not vegans and when they don't represent veganism. And this sets up a peculiar cycle, a cycle in which the most high-profile, most influential, most visible vegans are not vegans. Thus, the question of who is a fake vegan is very real and very significant. So Jill Stein is an American politician who is now running for president of the United States, and she represents the Green Party. On this channel, I've criticized the Green Party many times, but I'm normally talking about the Green Party of Canada, not the Green Party of the United States. Jill Stein was cornered in an interview on Reddit. She was finally asked directly, are you or are you not vegan? Because she makes some kind of vague statements about these. Vague and, from my perspective, self-contradictory statements about this issue. And I will now read you in entirety her reply. It's a couple sentences long, but this will feel like the longest paragraph of your life. So, to quote Jill Stein, quote, "We need a sustainable food system. Industrial animal agriculture is not sustainable, not healthy for the planet, not healthy for people, and not humane. Large-scale feeding operations pollute the water, the air, the soil, and fill our food with antibiotics, pesticides, and hormones." Just have to pause. You already can tell she's not vegan because she uses the word food here. They pollute our food with antibiotics, pesticides, and hormones. What food has hormones in it? Well, are you talking about potatoes? You're talking about meat. Sorry, we say deeply, once you've been vegan for a few years, you actually don't use the word food this way. You don't complain about hormones in your food because you don't drink milk and you don't regard milk as food. By the way, it's a shibboleth. It's a little implicit thing here, but even the way she's talking about it, it's clear that she's someone who still considers eating, meat and dairy natural, normal, and necessary. All right. I continue with my quote. "We need a healthy food system. Our Green New Deal will move subsidies from harmful corporate agriculture to small-scale, healthy, and sustainable operations." Pause. I have to pause again. She's talking about small-scale meat farming, meat agriculture. She's talking about slitting the throats of cows. She's talking about pigs and goats and sheep and chickens. But because it's small-scale, it's morally pure, right? Anyway, I've discussed this many, many times with people face-to-face and on the internet and what have you. If you were looking at a good hospital, why would you assume that a small hospital is morally superior to a large hospital? If you're looking at factory conditions, whether it's pollution from factories or the conditions of the employees, of the workers, and so on, why would you assume that a small factory is better than a large factory? Sometimes a large factory treats people better than a small factory. There is absolutely nothing rational or reasonable about her approach here, which is making excuses for the industry. It's saying that if you break it down into smaller pieces, it's moral. Whereas if you look at it in the aggregate whole, it's immoral. So anyway, this is, to be blunt, to you, if I'm not saying himself, the term I would use, this is fuckery. In the parlance of our times, in the slang, in the brogue of the streets of our era, this is what you would call some fuckery. This is just nonsense. But anyway, this quotation ends, quote, "I have been vegan or vegetarian for 45 years. Currently, I am vegan plus fish and occasional dairy for health reasons." So that is why the term fake vegan exists. Sorry, close quote. Jill Stein, you are a fake vegan. Either you sincerely do not know the meaning of the word vegan, which seems impossible because you're the leader of the Green Party, or you're intentionally trying to manipulate me, the audience, the reader. If you eat dairy, you're not vegan. You should know that. That's obvious. You included the words vegan. You said vegan or vegetarian. You had the contrast there, so you should be aware of the difference between these things. So first and foremost, that's obvious. Secondly, if you believe there are legitimate health reasons to eat dairy, you're really not vegan. I mean, that is totally impossible. There are some extremely obscure health reasons, by the way, where eating meat has to be justified. They're really less than 1 in a million. I've read articles dealing with that. The very, very rare health conditions where you've got to look at some non-vegan. But dairy? Dairy for health reasons? And of course, if you eat fish, then you're not vegan or vegetarian. You're pescatarian at best. So, yeah, you're vegan plus fish and dairy. And you claim, by this very malleable standard of the meaning of the word vegan, you've been vegan or vegetarian for 45 years. I think so. For 45 years, you've been lying. That's what this means. You've been a liar for 45 years. You've been a fake vegan for 45 years. And of course, I mean, it's always an irony, but if you're a real vegan, you have much more contempt for this than you have for someone who's a meat eater and who's honest about it. It's part of human nature. It's how life on Earth goes. Look, guys. The Green Party in most countries is a joke. Not everywhere. If you're watching this in some of the countries in Europe, there's some Green Party movement worth talking about. Go to Google image search and take a look at Green Party Conference. Green Party Conference near you. Search for your country or your state or your city. As hopeless and pathetic as the Green Party seems from a vegan perspective, and believe me, in Canada it seems especially pathetic in many ways, they have in many places reach the critical mass of having conferences, of making events happen in a way that we don't. You got to be self-critical. What have vegans really accomplished in the last couple of years, and what can we accomplish if we continue to work alone in the way that we have? Maybe where you live, it's a smart idea to get involved with the Green Party. Maybe. But maybe also you have to make the hard decision that these people, in terms of their principles, their constitutions, what organizes them, their guiding, the aspects that define who they are as a political movement, that's not going to change, that it's a waste of your time and energy, that you're better off starting your own movement, starting your own foundation, starting your own organization, or working with other people who respect you for being vegan, and working with other people whom you can respect as a vegan. Because this, Jill Stein, inevitably brings on, hatred and obloquy and scoffs of disbelief from vegans who have very few choices for who they would look to for leadership, but they're not looking at you. They're not looking at the Green Party.